This review of Mega Man Zero 2 may contain spoilers and coarse language. I would also recommend you watch the Zero 1 video before checking out this one. Capcom is a really strange company that is incredible at both ruining and saving their game franchises. One particularly good save was Devil May Cry 2 to 3 with even the same director. That's insane. Another one is this one, Zero 2 taking what Zero 1 did wrong and fixing most of the issues with it. Zero 2 is the sequel released just a year later that decided to pull out all the stops and make some great stuff. Does it hit every nail on the head? Nope, I'm afraid not. But it does get a lot of them and solve many of the problems the first game had. Seeing such a great jump in quality like that really motivates someone like me, because I get to talk about all the things that this game improved on. So, how does this new entry improve upon the first? And what could it still learn? Let's take a dive and find out, starting with the story. Zero 2 starts out a year later after the first, with Zero literally fighting robots for a year, and he's basically almost done for. But then Harpuya finds him and decides to save him. A new resistance team is made, with Ciel stepping down from commanding to do research on a new energy source so Neo Arcadia and the Resistance can come to a peaceful resolve. Due to Ciel's absence, a new commander is chosen named Elpizo. Upon finding Zero, he repeats what he's done in the previous games, doing missions and all that shit. But then X appears to warn Zero that the Baby Elves, clones of the evil Dark Elf that X sealed away years ago, were going to manipulate people to do what they want. Elpizo falls victim to that, going maverick and demanding humanity be made extinct. Zero tries to chase him down, only to watch as he finally makes it to the original Dark Elf, kills X's original body, and takes the Dark Elf for himself. Zero then climactically defeats the corrupted Elpizo. X then warns of a greater threat that could inflict the planet, and Zero hopes it's something that he can take on. The plot has progressed to being a bit more complex, which is actually a pretty good thing. A lot of new elements have been introduced, and things that may have wondered veteran players have been answered. Though, of course, we still don't know everything, but at the same time, we start learning a little bit more of this new world that Zero's in. But now, because there's a bit more meat on this story, there's a lot longer cutscenes. These cutscenes are thankfully very entertaining, so I don't really mind too much if I can't skip it. Presentation is identical between the two games as well, with a few more detailed cutscene art here and there. However, this time around you can skip some of the cutscenes. Not all of them, just some of them, as opposed to none of them in the first game. Some. I mean, it's a step up, I'll say that for sure. Gameplay is where the real question comes in. Is everything improved? Well, just about. Zero has the Buster, Z-Saber, and Shield Boomerang returning, but gets a new weapon called the Chain Rod. This magical piece of technology lets Zero swing on ceilings along with pulling objects to him. I love this weapon so much. It's one of my favorite weapons in anything ever. This thing is so fun to use for combat and platforming that I cannot believe magic like this was something I needed in my life. There's even little goodie holes where you can get items pulled towards you. It's just so much better than the Triple Rod. Leveling up sadly returns in this game, but it's a lot quicker than it was in Zero 1. I was able to max out my Z-Saber by the time I was at the midpoint stage, where at the same point in Zero 1 I would not be anywhere close to that. Not only that, but you get the Chain Rod and Shield Boomerang right at the start, so you really do not have to worry too much about trying to level up everything at the same time. Cyber Elves and Elemental Chips both return as well. Nothing different here except two things. The first is that two Cyber Elves split off to become sub-tanks that you just find in the levels. This really helps with making some bosses a little bit easier. The second is that they're much cheaper. It's way easier to feed and use Cyber Elves in this game. Do note that they still affect your ranking, so we're almost there to making sure the player wants to use them. New things added are the forms and the EX skills. Forms are found when you reach a special requirement in a mission, such as pull 30 things with your Chain Rod or get 25 energy capsules. These also give Zero new moves and different effects on what he can do, such as being faster but losing his triple slash combo. EX skills are, well, new and returning. 0-1 had them as well, but they were just about extra bonus moves that bosses would use. Another reason not to care about grades in 0-1. In 0-2, that is also true, but 0 can use them as well. As long as you have an A rank or above, 0 will get the EX skill of the enemies he fights. These little things add just the right amount of fun things to the game, and give 0 a more powerful attack if need may be. Using these along with forms results in a pretty customizable 0 that can take on many challenges, and it also makes ranks important. But I must warn you, do not, and I repeat, do not try to go through this game on your first playthrough with A ranks. You are not going to have fun, and you're going to be constantly resetting. So I would recommend you do that as a second playthrough. You can get through the game just fine without EX skills, and they are really cool, but trust me, don't do that. In fact, one source of criticism is that the EX skills and the forms are somewhat counterintuitive to each other. It's somewhat difficult to get a form because you have to do grinding for some of them. So because of that, it would affect your rank, so it's not really best to try and get everything all at once. If you want to experience everything, it may be easier for you to try to get the forms on your first playthrough and then the EX skills on your second. And while technically the EX skills definitely have more utility behind them, the forms are very fun to experiment with. Level design got a bit of an overhaul. Some levels feature some creative and crazy gimmicks that make them stand out a lot. Like the forest stages both have blocks that 0 can pull to make platforms. There's also the explodey boys that 0 can smack around in different areas, and they can also blow up shit to make platforms or shortcuts. Speaking of that, some of these levels do have multiple paths, and they can lead 0 on fun detours with mini-bosses. Not all of them do this, but some do, and it's neat to see that experimentation. Gone is the Metroidvania elements, and thank fucking God! Now you just teleport to the areas and teleport back when you're done. Easy, simple, and convenient. Also, it doesn't save stupid shit for no reason either, so we're good on that front too. Though, there was one level that pissed me off, the Temple of the Flame. This stage features falling platforms in it, but they activate when 0 is close to them, not when he is actually standing on them. As well, if you fuck up, they're gone, so you basically have to die. Those really made this last section of the stage a lot harder than it needed to be, especially because the part before this is all about launching explodey boys right into holes to blow them up. And let me tell ya, that's a true test of fucking patience to do that over and over again. Bosses also got souped up. To make sure you can get chip weaknesses, 3 of the 4 first bosses have chips on them. From then on, it's free range to use them. That, along with grinding being toned down, makes 0-2 easier when it comes to bosses. Even better, when you die, they don't repeat whatever the hell they just said. They even made it so that they taunt you if you die. That right there, that's some good shit. They also are easier to predict, and it's easier to grasp on their moves and movesets before anything goes too haywire. Though there are exceptions. Harpuya's EX skill is just... oh, that is so hard to avoid. There's only one boss I don't like. One boss is the little brother of another boss in 0-1, but at that refight you fight him and his older brother. This boss fight, while a super cool idea, wasn't executed too perfectly because these guys have some strange hitboxes along with their rotating move being hell. And don't get me started on their attempted suicide move. But compare that to all the other bosses, oh baby, I cannot say these bosses are bad. I love the new and improved fights with Harpuya, Fafnir, and Leviathan. Rest in peace, Phantom. Hope we see you soon. As well, the new Maverick boss fights are pretty good too, with High Leg Orobuckle slithering around and firing projectiles at you, Panther Fawclaws jumping around like a maniac and throwing things at you, and the Mark II versions of the X-Guardians having some pretty sweet fights, especially Leviathan's, where you gotta make sure you destroy some of the projectiles of hers. Also, one tiny thing I forgot to talk about with 0-1. Upon completion of any 0 game, you are allowed to go through the game again in a New Game Plus variant. This lets 0 keep all of the Cyber Elves he's ever used or collected. This, however, is way better in 0-2 because it also lets you keep all of the forms and EX skills that you gathered. So with Zero One, who gives a shit? Like, really, who cares? Nobody does. Whatever, it's fucking elves. But in Zero Two, elves plus your forms and EX skills, that's really awesome. It makes going through this game way more fun than you'd think. So bam! From a gameplay standpoint, we have got a huge improvement in almost everything. Though of course we still have some things to iron out, such as cyber elf usage and grinding. So hopefully, we'll get all that ironed out in the next game. I don't know anything, not like I played these games ahead of time. I mean I did, but you know, I totally don't know anything about that. Anyway, let's talk about the graphics. The graphics in Zero Two are a straight up improvement. Like everything is better in this game. Zero goes to more colorful environments, fights on wicked areas, and has some neat sprite scaling that was used in some boss fights. There's also some very creative uses of the level. One such cool moment is in the train heist stage. In this stage, much like in Zero One, Zero has to get to the head of the train. When he gets to the head of the train, the game flips onto a 2D perspective from the side, and you get to see Zero jump between trains to fight Panther with the carts trailing behind it. I absolutely love little details like this. It is so cool to see all those little dangling carts in the background. Character designs remain samey as shit with a little bit of variety here and there. Same thing as well, the Maverick designs in this game are fucking phenomenal, so I always like seeing these guys. Zero also gets something added where he has a different form color for every form that he uses. Makes him a little bit more Mega Man-y. I kind of wish the chip system did that, but we're still making strides here. Speaking of strides, that's the audio to a T. The music in Zero Two is such a step up. No track gets old and I keep flipping around from favorites. Platinum, the song I used in the intro, is one of my favorite tracks in this game. Another favorite for sure being the Ice Stage's first theme. And my lord, the beautiful work done with the rock songs in this game is awesome. These tracks really know how to emphasize the good shit. God, what a step up! The sound effects remain largely unchanged, but that's not a bad thing. But some new sound effects make their way in, like new explosion sounds. The voice acting is back with its grunts, but we've also got some Japanese people actually talking. Looks like this time around, CL is wondering, Zero, daijoubu desu ka? Hai, so desu ne. Gomen nasai. Eigo ni modoru. Look, I don't know what I just said either, but I mean, that's how I feel when I play this game. Overall, Mega Man Zero Two is a huge step up from the previous game. A gigantic leap in quality that I cannot believe wasn't the first step. Does that mean Zero One is bad? Well, comparatively, yes. But alone, it's still okay. But we've only looked at Zero's 1 and 2. But what secrets does the third game hold? Could it even be better than 2? We'll have to find out on the next part. Look, okay, I know, I already know, and I'm not saying it because I don't want to say it, because you'll have to see the review to find out. So yeah, that's awesome. Alright, so I'll see you guys next time when I'm checking out Mega Man Zero 3. Is it a step up? Is it a step back? You're gonna have to sit there and find out when we get to the next part. With high leg Orobuckles, oh my god, with high leg Orobuckles slithering around, oh my god,